Eddie's here. Good Yontif, good afternoon. As we continue our journey through the days of awe, I want to welcome everyone back, and I hope that you have had so far a meaningful and interesting Yom Kippur, certainly different than we have ever shared before, but opening avenues that we haven't had the chance to share in quite this way before. As we move into the afternoon, our focus for our reflections today is Esa Enai, the psalm from our tradition that is so well known and so beloved to us. So I'll share the psalm first, and then we will share in reflections and music together. I lift up my eyes to the mountain. Where does my help come from? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your protection at your right hand. By day the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all harm. God will protect your life. Adonai will guard your going and your coming, now and forever.
Esainai el heharim be'ain yabu Isri. Esainai el heharim be'ain yabu Isri. Isri me'im Adonai Ose Shemayim ba'aretz. Esri me'im Adonai Ose Shemayim ba'aretz.
My help was supposed to come from the birthing class. It was supposed to come from our birth plan. It was supposed to come from preparing a hospital bag. But as it turns out, when I went into labor at 33 weeks, 5 days, none of the supposed tos really mattered anymore. Eliana Beth made her entrance into this world at 5:54 a.m. on Thursday, April 2nd, at 33 weeks and 6 days gestation. 6 weeks and 1 day early. Even now, there is no clear reason why I went into preterm labor, but I did, and there she was. All the knowledge and preparation I was planning for evaporated as soon as we knew that I would not be leaving the hospital still pregnant. Instead, I had to accept help from strangers, people whose entire faces I could not even see because of COVID precautions. Although I have been working hard to get better at it, I'm not one who easily asks for or accepts help, especially from people I don't know and trust. And yet here I was with no choice. I knew nothing about preemies or their needs and development, and now here I was, the mother of one. I needed help. A few days into our NICU journey, we met Amanda, the speech and language pathologist. When she introduced herself, I was confused. Why would the NICU have SLPs? It's not like newborns can talk. Amanda seemed to sense my confusion and began to explain. Her role was to help Eliana learn to coordinate her suck, swallow, and breathe motions so that she could successfully eat. Most of Eliana's 46-day hospital stay was spent mastering this skill. It was a roller coaster, to be sure, with many ups and downs, and I hate roller coasters. But Amanda was patient and kind and understanding. She helped me understand the biology and the physiology of the issue. She guided me as I learned step by step how to feed my daughter safely, and she caringly delivered difficult news when things were not progressing as expected. Amanda was one of several people on the medical team of strangers from whom I learned to accept help. With the supposed to-dos out the window, I was forced to be in the present, to decide in each moment how I would respond, and I chose acceptance.
I hear the buzzer bouncing off of the walls of the gym. I know this sound, but I can't recall what it means. It's the last game of the 4th grade basketball season, and my daughter, Mira, is walking toward me. I turn my head to the scoreboard. The numbers are blurred. I'm not sure if she's won or lost. I want to say that I'm proud of her either way, but I can't find any words. Instead, I hold up 2 thumbs, staring blankly at her. I'm instructing myself to smile, but my lips haven't moved. Mira asks if I'm mad at her. I shake my head. It's the best I could do. We walk outside together and I get in the car. We're not 500 yards out of the parking lot when Mira yells for me to stop. She leaps from the back row and grabs my cell phone from the passenger seat. "I'm calling Dad," she says. My ex-husband, Mira's father, pulls beside my now parked car. He's staring at me from outside of my closed window. "Something's bad," I mouth to him. I'm 38 weeks pregnant. I don't know it yet, but I'll be having a baby in the morning. I don't know it yet, but there are 3 small blood clots trying to exit my brain. I don't know it yet, but my daughter has just saved us both. I don't know it yet, but I'm having a stroke. Esaenai el he harimeayin yavo esri. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? I've sung the words for Psalm 121 100 times. Before now, I've always heard it as words and instruction really, but for someone else, definitely not me. I don't love to ask for help. I don't even know what I think about God's ability to help. I pride myself on my ability to fix things, to be the helper, to be the one that holds the hand of the broken, but for the first time in my life, I realize right now I can't help myself. I'm trying to lift my eyes, but cannot. From whence will my help come? In this moment, help must come to me from the last place I would like to look. I am her mother, her helper. 3 blood clots stuck on their way out of my brain caused my daughter to spring into action, to stop the car, to make the call, to help her mom. Help doesn't always come how we think it should, but if we're willing to look for it, we can trust that help will find its way. as I raise my head with these questions in me. Where will my help come from? When will I finally feel free? Yes, where will my help come from? Where will my help come from? As I raise my head with these questions in me. Where will my help come from? When will I finally feel free?
On December 4th last year, Jeff and I were in New Orleans celebrating my dad's 100th birthday. Dad was frail, but very much present at his party at the World War II Museum. 2 days later, when Jacob died, my father was too weak to get out of bed to console us. I hated saying goodbye to him that way. I promised we would be back. 6 weeks later, we flew back to find Dad fading and even weaker. I spent that visit in a flurry of doctors' calls, shoring up home care for Dad. The doctor told us Dad would go quickly and without pain. I was angry, really angry. How could God take my son and now my father in such quick succession? Why bother with God if that is God's will? It was about a month later when Dad passed, just as the doctor predicted. I had always thought I would give the eulogy at Dad's funeral. I wanted to be able to honor him that way, but not after God took my two Jacobs. I had no words. I had no use for such a God. Where would my help come from? My husband, Jeff, knew I couldn't speak, so he quietly asked if he could speak at Dad's funeral. Of course, I said. He spent the next day and a half writing and rewriting. He so wanted to honor my dad and soothe my broken soul. He had so much on the line. I don't recall much about Jeff giving that eulogy, but what I do remember is his presence for my dad, for me, for my family. He got up and spoke when I had no words, when I wanted no God. Martin Buber says that God is present in divine moments of connection. That day, Jeff not only honored my father, comforted me and my family. He planted a seed that I can now know was one of those rare divine moments of connection, a moment when God is the presence pulling us together. A moment that heals even when we don't know we are being healed, even when we don't want to let God in.
va'aretz Ezrei me'im Adonai Ose Shemayim va'aretz.
Now, admittedly, the three of us have had unusually pressing times from which we have lifted our eyes in this past year to seek help, to find help in new ways we didn't know. But the truth is, each and every one of us has had to look up to that mountain, have felt that we have been in the depths in these last 6 months, this last year. And so a group from our congregation has come together and written their own special stories. We're going to break into separate rooms now and hear their short stories, a minute, 2 minutes each, and then reflect together from where our help comes, from where that we find God.